本節目內主持人及嘉賓的言論純屬個人意見，並不代表本台立場。
So welcome again to the Boiling Point, and today we have a special guest to grace our show. It's Professor or Doctor, right?
Chapman Chen. Hello.
Chapman Chen.
Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening.
Okay. Chapman, it's a really good friend of mine, of a localist circle, because we all know that he's really good at righting the wrongs with all those written Cantonese thing we have always been using. He's actually a preserver of the Cantonese culture.
Thank you.
So Chapman, today I've got a series of questions for you. It's like you're going to be interrogated because people they have to know you, right?
Yes, of course.
So so Chapman, what did you study back in the old days?
Well, I got a bachelor's degree in English language and literature, and then a master's degree in translation, and a PhD in sinology, or Chinese studies from a Western perspective.
From the Western perspective?
Yes. Specifically, it is a psychobiography of a modern Chinese writer, yu-da-fu.
Ooh, that sounds really awesome. So you've been to Finland, right?
Yes. I was there for 5 years, and I was the principal investigator of a drama translation research project at the University of Eastern Finland.
Wow, so you're actually doing translation works for them?
No, it's a research project.
Research project.
About translation.
All right.
Who's that funded by, or what university or research organization was it connected to?
The university is at the University of Eastern Finland.
Right, okay.
Yes.
So the reason why I asked Chapman about what he was doing in Finland, because when I first knew Chapman, it's like he had already back from Finland to Hong Kong, right?
Yes, 2013 I returned from Finland to Hong Kong.
So what was it about?
Well,
so why did you not staying in Finland?
In fact, I had intended to emigrate to Finland and become a Finnish citizen. But subsequently, well, back at the beginning of 2013, I suddenly realized that my cultural identity was a Hong Kong citizen, a Hong Konger, rather than a Finn. And I found that Hong Kong was in danger, was in a critical moment. So I decided to give up the chance of acquiring Finnish citizenship and return to Hong Kong, trying to do something for my compatriots, for my Hong Kong compatriots.
That's really impressive. I mean, every time I heard, because it's a really selfless act, actually.
Thank you.
And
just follow my core, my nature.
Yeah. So in your view, what is what is actually happening in Hong Kong now?
Well, I think recently more and more people or social activists have been put in jail That means they are the Hong Kong Communist government intends to scare people, especially young people, away from the street, to dissuade them from taking part in demonstration in public. So that's and now Carrie Lam has stepped into power, has stepped into the office of the chief executive. Many people are worried that she may pass Article 23, and then many people will be in trouble, or many organizations will be in trouble, and maybe including local press.
It's like a gradual tightening of all these hold onto freedom of speech, right? The Article 23. So, since when did you start participated in the social movements in Hong Kong?
Well,
how did it happen?
The first time I took to the streets was back in 1989, during the June 4th massacre.
Well,
and that's the first time I really took to the streets. And then subsequently, I also took part in the defense of the Queen's Pier, the old Queen's
they're trying
Pier.
to replace or demolish that.
And when I was in Finland, I visited Hong Kong from time to time. I also took part in movements like anti-smugglers from China movement.
Yeah.
When was the first anti-smuggler protest, do you think? Was that 2012 or 13, or do you remember?
Maybe earlier, sometime around 2012, yes.
And at that time, they're already called Guangfuk, or was that a new?
反水貨客
Anti-smugglers.
Yeah, but so they weren't called Guangfuk at that time in the early days.
Maybe later.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So there was this legislative council elections.
I also took part in the anti-express train movement. 反高鐵.
Yeah, because that's the construction of such railway is firstly is not totally not necessary.
Exactly, it's a useless but grossly expensive train.
It's insanely expensive.
And of course, it just makes it easier for movement of people into
and troops.
Hong Kong.
And troops.
Yes, it is.
So I understand that if things goes wrong, I mean, in the communist point of view, they have to rely on that railway system to transport troops.
But they've already got the PLA base in Hong Kong Island, haven't they? And a few other places.
Yes,
I think it's more about bringing tourists and new immigrants to come and live in Hong Kong, to make Hong Kong more like China.
Part of the recolonization process.
What China would call nation building,
Yeah, and the U.S. They kind of expressed their concern on the it's like they know that the Hong Kong militarization is getting worse and worse. And recently happening there's this news about them voicing their concern. But that's anyway. That's something extra. So we just had a legislative council election like last year, right?
Yes.
And so after the election, what happened? I see that we all know that you've got into some kind of trouble.
Well, during the election, let's see. During the election, I think it's towards the end of August last year. Local press, that is the company, the media which I and some other comrades founded in 3 years ago. So last year, towards the end of August, local press posted a a report about let's see, the heading is 5 constituency referendum. Well, this time's election is already 5 constituency referendum that
de facto referendum.
Yes, but and referendum for vaccination for referendum is too risky. It's so risky that it is just a spare plan. Well, this report is about Wen Chin, a key opinion leader on the net. So, and then Wen Chin accused local press of distorting his words. But this is an accurate record of his words in one of his own videos. So that the video can be retrieved, still can be retrieved now. So we report the news professionally according to the ethics of media. So I think we are unfairly accused. But then subsequently this year, this year in February 2017, on the 20th of February this year, Wen Chin, when giving an interview to Stan's News, admits that the 5 constituency referendum will not actually be carried out. That's his own words. So that's clarified that we never distort his words.
So that means he has a change of stance, or maybe he just lied.
And Wen Chin also he used to be one of the members of one of the directors of Local Press, and we make it very clear from the very beginning that Local Press will not be a tool or a spokesman or a mouthpiece of any political party or any political figure. That's very clear to all the directors at that time. It turned well. I've joined, taken part in various kinds of social movements for a number of years. The lesson I've learned, that the observation I've made is that certain KOLs, key opinion leaders, have tried to make use of netizens or online people's dissatisfaction about politics. These KOLs have tried to make use of these people's anger and emotions for their own personal gains. Exactly. But well, there are some the discourse of some of these KOLs is not totally incorrect. I think 70% of it is correct, and the 30% is fake or wrong.
So it's a mixture of truths and half-truths.
Yes, and if you believe in the half-truths, you will get into trouble. And we're having a purge after the election. So how did it affect you? Well, let's see. You mean the government's purge? No, I mean the within the localist circle, because there's this inner fight, right? Some KOLs, some key opinion leaders were defeated or lost the election, and they try to make people believe that the localist movement was over, has come to an end, and as a consequence of their own defeat. We don't think this is true, and there are some key opinion leaders who on the one hand would advocate localism, but on the other hand they would actually advocate or support the disqualification of non-establishment electoral members by the government. That's very strange.
It's very ironic.
So very ironical, right? And let's see. Well, there are people in the Pan-Democrats, among the Pan-Democrats, for example, Margaret the former electoral member. Margaret she's a lawyer, and she, even she, 30 years ago already proposed Hong Kong independence as one of the options for Hong Kong people. One of the options for Hong Kong people. So she's
the pioneer.
Yeah. Yes. She's a Pan-Democrat. But now, but during and after the election of last year, the electoral election of last year, there have been some sectors or some camps, some schools of the localist camps, some sectors of the localist camps, which exclude the option of Hong Kong independence for Hong Kong people, and they have been attacking Hong Kong independence, particularly vehemently and vigorously. So that makes that puzzles a lot of people. Why should they do this?
They're supposed to share the same similar kind of goals, right?
Yes. Why should they attack Hong Kong independence even more vigorously than the Democrats? And why? And tell me why.
All right. So, what visions?
I think I saw Chin Wan said that the localist camp has been hijacked by the Hong Kong independence camp.
Come on, when it comes to hijacking, it's supposed to be like his talking stick or his microphone is taken away from him, and people are following a totally different figure, right? It's supposed to be like that if it comes to real hijacking. But I still see that he has a strong voice among his people. So it's totally false, I think.
There's no concrete evidence to show this.
Yeah.
To show that the localist movement has been hijacked by the Hong Kong independence.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me, because I think the localist camp always was supposed to be, or people thought it was, the Hong Kong independence camp. As it turns out, Chin Wan is against Hong Kong independence. So, in a sense, I think, well, in the way I see it, he's not part of the localist camp if he's not pro-independence.
Well, the spectrum is very wide. There should be a win-win-win situation. And my position is Hong Kong people ruling Hong Kong, and the locals should come first. That's my position. The spectrum is very wide, so it's very strange that a certain sect or a certain school of the localist camps would like to edge out a certain another sect of the same localist camp. It's very strange.
Back in the past, Chin Wan has been using some word of games, I would say, to exclude the idea of Hong Kong independence, because he said something like, Hong Kong was established like 170 something years ago, while the communist China was like 60 something.
Oh, that's very true.
That's facts. So he's using that to manipulate his supporters, like you're not supposed to support the independence thing because based on the historical facts, it's not true. But nowadays, of course, as time goes by, we know that it's because of something totally different. I mean, reasons. So I guess it's time for this section to come to the end, and stay tuned and subscribe.
經錯過我哋精彩嘅節目， 而家上嚟呢個網址就可以訂閱晒我哋8大頻道，付費之後仲可以重溫晒所有精彩嘅節目。記得要訂閱我哋嘅 YouTube channel 同埋讚好我哋嘅 Facebook 專頁啊！